Hey, what's happening?
Hey you guys, Merry Christmas. Welcome back to What's Wrong with These Kids. We're going to be taking a break from our typical storytelling and instead share something else that was very important to us, especially around the holidays, movies, Christmas movies. So we watched a lot of movies growing up, especially Christmas movies. What are some that stick out to you in your memory?
Obviously, Frosty the Snowman.
Yes.
The Rudolph the Reindeer movie.
With the Bumble that you mom got you a Bumble one year, didn't she?
Yeah, actually, which was the one with the was it the Abominable Snowman that
They
was
called
like
him
cross?
the Bumble.
What was that his
They
name?
called they called him the Bumble. It was the
Oh yeah, but he
Abominable
was
Snowman, but they called
cross-eyed, and I thought it was hilarious. But I remember having one, and I don't even know where it went. I'm sure Sean took it, and it just got It's probably still at Mom's house right now.
We were on the way home from church today, and I was asking the kids, we're going to watch a movie while we were eating lunch, and I asked what we wanted to watch, and Rudolph was one of the options, and Zeke said no, because it's got that scary blue thing that chases him. I was
Scary
like, the
thing,
bump.
but he's white.
Yeah, but he's got a blue face. He's got a blue
Oh
face.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
So anyway, we watched other stuff. I threatened to watch Charlie Brown Christmas, or Christmas Time Charlie Brown with them, and they did not want to watch that. Do you remember watching that with Granddad?
Oh yeah, every year. I'm
Every year,
pretty
and
sure any
he would
holiday
belly
we watch
laugh.
Charlie Brown stuff with Granddad.
And he would belly laugh at the same jokes every year. Like he would get so tickled every
Like
year
it
we were
was the
watching the
first
same
time.
movie. Yes, yes. So I threatened that one. Some other ones that we watch a lot. We watch the Santa Claus movies with Tim Allen. Those some classics. The Three Grinches. I'm a fan of all three. Jim Carrey, the new one with Benedict Cumberbatch, and the original. You're looking
Oh
kind of
no,
confused.
because I was like, there's three. I don't think I saw the one with Cumberbatch.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. That's what we end up landing on today. But we're gonna be talking about a different movie each week. We're even gonna get into the Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I'm not gonna ask what your position is, Logan. I want you to begin developing that debate.
First of all,
And
both Die Hard 1 and 2 are both revolve around Christmas, so they're both Christmas movies.
Perfect. We'll have a fun discussion on that one. But we're going to do that in a few weeks. But today, we want to kick off with one of our favorites, one that we could identify with, Home Alone. We're going to be talking about Home Alone 1 today, the first movie. It's not called Home Alone 1, it's just called Home Alone. And just some stats, if anyone cares. It was released in 1990. And it was Macaulay Culkin's, first big break. There's a whole weird documentary on Macaulay Culkin and that movie and stuff. It grossed in the USA $285 million, and that's cumulative since it was released. An opening weekend, it made $17 million. So it was a big deal, a big movie. And in fact, I remember this came out when we moved to Northridge. Like it was that same year that we moved to Northridge is when this movie came out. And Macaulay Culkin, Kevin, the lead, looked just like this kid in our neighborhood, Matt.
Yeah.
Yes. Not the Matt that we had on the show, a different Matt. And I remember somebody saying that. And so when he came out of his house, I tried to pretend like I was the cool kid who actually knew somebody there. And so I shouted, "Hey, Kevin!" And it's like, my name's not Kevin, it's Matt. And I was like, oh, I
But
failed.
his dad's
I failed.
name was Kevin.
His dad's name was Kevin. So we watched this movie plenty. And Logan, when I mentioned this movie, you said that you thought that we had done some of these traps that he does in the movie.
Oh yeah, I think that was bad for kids of our caliber because we were like, that's a great idea. We should set up booby traps all over the house.
But not for criminals, for our parents. That's what
Yeah,
we
and
were
also
doing.
Santa Claus.
Yes,
Remember, we were trying to
true.
figure out if Santa Claus is for real, so we're like, well, we'll set up these booby traps. Then
And we
we'll
never
be
found
alerted
out.
once he's,
Never found
yeah.
out.
No,
We never knew.
Dad just
We
kept
don't know.
limping around because he's stepping on our Legos or whatever.
Hopefully you've seen this movie. If not, there's going to be spoilers. You can watch it right now on
If you
on
haven't
Disney
seen,
Plus.
well, I say that, but I recently just found out some people have not seen it 1,000 times. When I was going back to rewatch it today, and I'm like, you don't know this person?
I mean, it was released almost 30 years ago, so it's your own fault if you don't know what the
Yeah.
story is, the plot is. But I love the movie and the pacing of the movie. I think it's a John Hughes film, and I just love watching it over and over again on the holidays.
And John Williams does the soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
I
it's a
just saw that.
John film.
What?
John film. John Hughes. John Williams.
John
Sorry for
Williams,
the
you
dumb
know,
joke.
who did
Yeah,
Jurassic
I know.
Park and all. Okay, yeah, just
Star
like,
Wars and yeah. But yeah, so the basic premise for those of you that are not familiar, because you've been living under a rock, is a
terrible parents.
terrible parents leave their kid behind, one of like 13 kids, leaves him behind and goes on a trip to Paris, and he is home alone. And while he's there, a pair of burglars are robbing the houses in the neighborhood, and they're trying to rob his house. Now,
Mhm.
Logan, we watch this easily once a Christmas, if not more than once a Christmas. Okay,
Oh
so
yeah.
for the last 25 years at least, we've watched this. So I've watched this movie at least 25 times. What I'm saying. Okay,
Oh yeah, definitely.
a year ago, last year at Christmas, I had a realization that I really should have figured out long before this. In the beginning scene, when Joe Pesci's there, Joe Pesci the criminal, and he's in his police uniform and he's asking him all these security questions. I always thought he was actually a police officer who on the Christmas break decided to become a robber. Like I had no
Oh
idea
really?
that I always thought that like he was just a police officer that was like using his
Like there was an
position to
opportunity that just
yeah,
arrived.
yes, yeah. Like I never even thought about him having this fake uniform that he's going around and check. Never thought of that. And I'm watching this and I had to laugh at myself because I assumed that he was a police officer. He was a cop that was just dirty. Was doing. And it is Chicago. It is Chicago. So could be.
It's for real.
What are some of your favorite scenes from the movie?
Um, actually, one of my favorite scenes is when he went grocery shopping and he's walking back, and all of a sudden the bags break and all of his groceries fall on the floor.
And
Looks
he's just like,
defeated.
yes, yeah, that was a good one. I mean, just that scene in general when he's talking to the cashier. I mean, it's
When
great.
he's asking if the toothbrush is ADA approved.
I was looking at that one. That was another good one, though. That was another good one.
I was
Now,
like,
don't
who asked that?
Macaulay Culkin, Kevin
Yeah.
McAllister. Kevin McAllister does. So, no, I was talking about when he was at the grocery store and they're like, "Where are your parents?" It's like my dad's at work and my mom's in the car. Where's your brothers and sisters? Only child. Where do you live? I can't tell you. What do you mean you can't tell me? Because you're a
You're a
stranger.
Yeah. We're like,
I could, yes,
checkmate.
I could see a kid just doing, and it's not just that movie. I mean, it's like it's both movies, which we'll talk about Home Alone 2 probably next year. But just the writing for Macaulay Culkin is just for Kevin Costner is just spot on. It is just so much fun just to listen to him
It
talk.
almost
and
makes
what
sense
things.
how he could get away with it.
Yes,
How he's
yes,
like this.
yes.
And it could- because his
Streetwise Kid.
parents, I mean, for a white boy being in a house that is mansion size for unexplained reasons,
Yes.
it's probably because his father's clearly embezzling money from the mafia or something.
Well, Carrie pointed that out because they fly to France and then they fly back early and they're just giving. I was like, where is all this money coming from?
Yeah,
But,
no, I flew to Germany, and if I flew to Germany and flew back immediately, that's still like 3 or 4 days, like getting it, like trying to do that.
Yeah, it's
And it's also not cheap at all.
obviously very wealthy, very wealthy.
They're
family.
also
So,
when they were getting in the van before they left, and they're like, "Oh, our flight leaves in 45 minutes." I'm like, "They're lucky this is pre 9/11 time. They can
Yeah.
actually run through that."
yes. Well, and it's funny because I'm watching this and that random kid is just rooting through the van, which is why they forget
Yeah,
Kevin.
that's why they counted them, because they're like, "Yeah, we got all the boys, all the girls."
But like nobody
Part
looks. I mean,
three.
like no one cares about this kid. Like none of the other people in the car were like, "That's not Kevin. Why is this weird kid sitting in the van? Like, get out of here!" Like they're all just like, "Yeah, that's how it goes." Kevin, that's
I
what he
don't know
looks
why
like.
this kid just wandered around. Like I was saying, if this kid seems like the one that your parents would be like, "Oh yeah, don't talk to that weird kid down the street." He'll just straight up walk up and ask questions about if it's manual or automatic transmission or how much gas mileage you get in this van. Like,
Yeah.
what kind of weird kid just goes inside? I'm like, kid, you're not allowed to be in here. Get
Bring
out.
back something French.
Yeah, bring back something
Uh,
friend.
Hi, this podcast is brought to you by me, Logan, and also my brother CJ. But if you would like to plug your business or make one of us read something out loud for whatever reason, head over to patreon.com/wwwtk. Then you can see videos of our podcasts and call me out on the internet about how my hairline is receding. Also, I can afford a better microphone so my voice doesn't sound like crap.
but yeah, the kid just be. I can't stand that kid. Like if he lived in the neighborhood, you'd have to watch out for him. Just wandering around. He'd be. I got an excellent example. He's like Stephanie's friend Issa, who just came in the house and started playing with her toys when she wasn't there. Do you remember this?
No, I don't remember that.
Stephanie had a friend Issa, and she came to the door. She knocked on the door. She said, "Is Stephanie here?" And Scott said, "No, she's not here." And she goes, "Okay." And she walked right past Scott, up the stairs into Stephanie's room, and just started playing. And he's looking at us like, what do I do? She just wandered in to go play, and she just played at her house for like an hour and a half. Stephanie wasn't even there. She was off somewhere else, and we're like, I guess Issa's playing here now.
Is Issa, does she have an older brother?
Nick.
Nick, yeah. It was Nick's little sister?
Yep.
Okay, I remember her now, yeah. I didn't know she did that. That's odd.
Yes. I remember Stephanie thinking, like, she's a little unusual. Every time we play house, she wants to be the dog. It's like, that is a little odd. But
now I really want to look her up on Facebook and see what she's doing.
Freud, eat your heart out. Anyway, so this weird kid, gets in the way. So they leave him at the house, and it's also really funny because it's funny, but I guess I could picture it when he wakes up. He goes out and sees that their cars are there, and he's like, they must not have gone to the airport because their cars are here. And I'm thinking, if I had cars,
one bedroom.
But he thinks they disappeared. He thinks they disappeared, but because he runs out, thinks they could have left because cars
right
there.
Before. Yeah, I made my parents disappear.
But I'm thinking if I had a vehicle coming to pick me up to take me to the airport, like I think my kids would know about it, but probably not because Charlie had no idea we were going to Carrie's grandma's for Thanksgiving, and I'm like, of course we are. We've talked about this I don't know how many times.
Shrubbery.
So in addition to the police staff and me being completely oblivious on that, I also for the longest time thought that the furnace that opens up and laughs at him, like that's actually what it did. That it wasn't a figment of his imagination. Like I thought like that's what his furnace was doing.
I had to ask somebody about that. Who had one of those furnaces? Like it was their grandparents. And I'm like, it doesn't do that, does it? Like, I felt so stupid. And I'm like, obviously, I was like, do you put coal? Like, I had no concept of what
because
that was.
Because we're Florida boys. We don't have furnaces.
Remember, there was one person who had a basement. It was Jason and Jordan because their father owned a construction company. And I think he just built his house up there. And the first thing when we went to one of the birthday parties, we're like, we should flood it. And they're like, what? yeah. Put swim tools down there, like, just start grab a hose, like, we'll get it full of water, because that was the coolest part in the end of the movie.
So speaking of that, why was that basement flooded?
Because there were the wet bandits.
They're the wet bandits, and I never drew that connection. I was like, why? I don't understand why their house is all. I think get it.
The first couple times I didn't know, but yeah, I was like, oh yeah, well, yeah. I think the first time I saw it, that went way over my head, but I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's just flooded because it's an underground pool or whatever.
Yeah, it's so funny as a kid. You don't pick up on half the stuff that's going on. Like you just have no idea, and you just go through and go, oh, this is fun. One of my favorite parts, I told Carrie, I laugh every time I see it, is when he's in the church and the old man with the shovel walks up to him, and he's all panicked, and the guy leans in and he says, "Merry Christmas," and his face just turns like, what? Why? He was just completely confused.
Well, that guy was kind of creepy. He just kept staring at him for like the first 3 interactions,
Agreed. Yes, with these steely cold eyes,
and his lips are moving.
Well, it's funny too because you're a kid, you don't realize that his brother is making that story up. Like you watch him tell that story.
Oh, I'm glad you said that
because
that was in my notes that I was going to bring up because it was Buzz making up that. Yeah, I heard like what it was a thing like he killed somebody and they never found the body so they couldn't prosecute him or whatever. Yes. And I was like, you know what? CJ did that to me all the time. You would always just, if you didn't know, you would make something up, and I would
Yeah.
just take it as gospel. I'm
But see,
like, well, clearly
I
that's
think he made
true.
that. The question I have is, does the cousin know he's making it up, or does the cousin buy it?
Oh, or is he going along with it? You're saying?
Yeah, like
I don't
he's like,
know.
we're gonna mess
I'm
with
sure.
Kevin. It's gonna be
Well,
great.
because Buzz is such a cool kid with a sweet haircut
And his
and
nickname
a beautiful
Buzz.
girlfriend. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't even think about that. His nickname is Buzz, and
Because
he's
he's a
got a
buzz
buzz
cut.
cut. I didn't even think about that. I bet it was that one bald uncle who I hate so much. He's like, "You're a
Frank,
jerk." Yeah, I would have been like, you know what? You're in my house, so you can sleep outside. You know?
listen, I'm glad you brought that up because I told Carrie, I said, if this was my house, if
Mhm.
if I am Kevin McAllister's dad, whose name I can't remember, who his name was, anyways, if
Yeah.
I'm doing this and my oldest son is treating my younger son that way, I'm beating my older son. You know, like I'm like,
I'm like,
are
hey,
you
guess who else is going to be in coach?
like, seriously, he only eats cheese pizza, and you ate the cheese pizza, you freaking turd. Like, what do you know? But he's oblivious. And
Which
if
also they
my
got like $200 worth of pizza
and one cheese pizza, one cheese,
What was the rest? Oh, that sounds like Scott's order. Or like 3 like
Mushrooms
Supremes.
and
Yeah. Like
You don't
nobody
eat
likes
this.
that.
And you're not going to eat leftovers, so it's going to sit in the fridge forever. But if my brother was to talk to my son that way, I'd have words. So we were watching it, and Frank said, "Look what you did, you little jerk." And I said, "Logan, just stop it." As a joke, like if you were to say something like that, I'd be like, "Not in my house. Do not talk to my." But you
Yeah,
wouldn't do that. I know you
I
wouldn't do
know.
that. But it's just I'm going, why is this dad is doing that? I'm like, I would be like, hey, I will handle my kid. You go and do your thing. But obviously, he makes a lot of money. He works a lot. Probably not at home a whole lot. Probably doesn't have a good relationship with his kids. Just guessing because
Oh, neither one of the parents seem like very good parents. I mean, one,
yes.
they left
I
him
mean,
alone 3 times, apparently.
so, but I do remember like that dynamic and going, this is insane. There's no way that I would let my son talk to my other son. It's just, and even the whole situation, like I'm going to send him to bed because my oldest son was being a jerk and he knocked over some
Yeah.
milk. I mean, if I were to send my kids to bed every time they made a spill,
All of
I
them
would
were
be,
so fumbly in
yeah,
that scene. And
it's
and then
just,
they were so bad at cleaning up a mess. I was like, are you guys adults or not?
which they threw away Kevin's ticket. I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw
I
that.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if it was his passport or a ticket. It could have been both. I don't know.
both. Um, but no, I love that movie. So I'm trying to think. How many times I meant to do this, but I didn't when I was watching it. How many times do you think, um, Marty and what's the other one's name?
Which one's Marty?
Marty, I think, is the tall one.
Or is
Uh,
that a guy?
I've got IMDb sitting right here. The robbers, the robbers.
Okay. Sorry. I was thinking of the kids.
No, it wasn't Marty. It's Harry and Marv. Harry and Marv, and the
Harry-
dad's name is Peter. Peter. So I'm wondering how many times Harry and Marv die. Like, I mean, how many times did they die? I mean, because obviously,
Oh, I saw a YouTube video when they tried to recreate the whole paint bucket thing, and they had
Yeah.
one of the ballistic
the
dolls,
head-
and it almost decapitated them. Like it broke through the skin, snapped the spine, and it was like, oh yeah, like if you did it a second time, it would have decapitated the person. So yeah, they definitely just that alone, and they did that twice.
yes.
Let's see, the electric thing. That would have
Yep.
been. I mean, you may
The iron
might have
coming
been-
down the laundry shaft
that
and hitting Marv in the head.
definitely killed somebody.
Yeah.
You could hit somebody with an empty glass bottle and kill somebody in the head.
Yes.
An
Yes.
iron, dead.
Yes.
I
was trying to remember what else he did. I mean,
even
Marv
like
is-
Marv was so stupid because he's the one that walked the sticky steps, right?
yes.
And so he loses his shoes and his socks. I'm like, why do you keep walking? Like if
Yeah,
I'm walking and my shoe
obviously,
comes
yeah.
off, I'm gonna go back and get my shoe. I'm not gonna be like,
And-
well, I guess I lost that shoe forever.
I'm gonna find a blanket to throw on the steps to crawl up the steps.
Yeah. None of that
Something.
yeah. And also, what do you think? And I know they said they're like, yeah, they got VCRs, and, yeah, like and televisions. I'm like, all these things sound heavy to carry out. I'm like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you go if you're like, yeah, there's a safe, I know the combination, and there's diamonds and gold bars in there. I'm like, yeah, I get it. That makes
And
sense.
granted, again, this is 30 years ago. Okay, a VCR probably was several $100s.
I guess, but how many VCRs do you think they have in their house? Two, maybe.
Well, even still, I mean, they were probably cleaning that house out, jewelry and everything else. All right, I'm looking up to see what a VCR
Yeah,
costs.
I'm thinking jewelry, but he didn't say anything about jewelry when they're in the van. And they're like, yeah, that's what he kept saying, the silver tuna. And I'm like, tuna's not even that expensive. Like, why didn't you use like a more expensive fish? I'm like, oh yeah, that's like, that pink tilapia.
It showed me the 80s, and it's like, let's
Ooh,
see.
they got that dolphin-free tuna. Yeah.
Yeah, so here it's in the 80s. It was $900 for a VCR.
$900 for a VCR?
Yes.
Is that why you would go rent them at Blockbuster?
Yes.
Oh wow.
And then 1987, they've got them for $400.
Oh, see, only $400.
Only $400.
We get a time machine and bring all our broke VCRs back there and make a killing.
Yeah. So
that's why you stole our time machine. Not to go buy a baby grand piano or a Picasso when it was cheap.
We're gonna buy gas when it's cheaper, and then come to the present and sell it. That's what we're gonna do.
So how much did you bring back? Just a couple gallons.
A lot of it sloshed out on the way.
Yeah, we lost a bunch of it. Your time machine's broken.
So I remember this movie with fondness. What are some closing thoughts for you and the?
Well, I had a couple of different things I liked about it, even just the beginning. You remember how the pizza delivery guy, he kept hitting that statue and knocking it over?
The jock boy.
I'm like, why is he driving so fast? It wasn't until I just was rewatching it, and on the side of the car it says 20 minutes or it's
free.
20 minutes or less or it's free. I'm like, oh, that's why he's in such a hurry.
He wasn't the only one that hit it. The phone repair guys hit it because they're putting it back on when they're knocking on the door to whatever. I think the
power.
It was either the phone guy.
He's like, hey, so it's going to be a couple of days, so your phones are going to be out. And I was thinking, no. Maybe back then they would, but I'm like, nobody would ever go tell you. They would be like, that's not my problem. I'm just going to fix it. But
they needed to have somebody say it so that they couldn't call the house.
Right, yeah. They had to make sure there wasn't any like...
But they had a cop call the house. They had a cop call the house.
Was that after it got reset?
Or no, the cop was knocking on the door.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And he thought it was the scary dude with the shovel.
Old man Withers.
Oh, the other thing I was thinking, if you were talking about closing things, when I was thinking of along the lines of how we would booby trap the house and all the different things we would do, I do remember when he takes a sled down the stairs.
Yes,
we definitely did. And
True.
I was watching it earlier, and Jordan's like, oh, it's not even a straight shot through the front door. I'm like, we didn't have it either.
Exactly.
We went straight into the wall.
Because he steers it, and you can't steer a sled on stairs.
You also can't steer a laundry basket or a mattress.
Yeah, we would hit the wall pretty hard.
Shot in the laundry basket when he was like 2. We're
Yes.
like, all right, here you go. Just keep
This is gonna be awesome.
Put on like a football helmet and be like, I just keep leaning back, and that way it won't dip. And you go down. Slam straight into the wall at the foot of the
It's
stairs.
amazing he survived. It's amazing he survived.
He thought it was awesome.
He did. Well, anything else?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Other than that, their family sucks. I hate them all, and also, yeah, just everything about the flight, how they could get in and out. It makes me somewhat jealous. Traveling internationally, how easy it was for them to just run up there and be like, "No, what? How Why did you leave the house 45 minutes before it's supposed to take off and somehow make your flight?
Yes. Yeah. Check all your baggage. Check all your baggage and
And
drive from wherever
forget
you
something.
are.
Kevin!
All right. So that's a good spot. Let's do this. What is your favorite line from the movie? As our closing little bit.
Keep the change.
Change, you filthy animal. I was thinking the same thing. Oh, that's a great line. Keep the change. Which was a fake movie. It wasn't a real movie. They made up that
I know.
movie.
I looked it up. So I had to go on Reddit. And they're like, no, they made two scenes for the first one and the second one. They pretend there was a sequel. I'm like, I want to watch this movie. What is it? Like I even think I think I paused it when you put the cassette in like one time and it has the title of it.
Mhm.
And I was looking everywhere for this. Like it's not a real movie.
All right. Well, I think it's going to wrap
Bummed.
up. I'm sorry. Was there what?
I was saying I was super bummed. So they really should just make that movie.
Yeah,
You know what? Let's do a Kickstarter and make that movie.
we should. We should. We'll extrapolate an entire plot based on that one scene.
Yeah.
Which the scene just gets better in two. Yeah, you were smooching with my brother.
Just smooching with my brother.
Oh man. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for our discussion on Home Alone. Stay tuned. Next week we're gonna be talking about Gremlins. So another one of those. Is it a Christmas movie? And the answer is
It
yes.
definitely is.
It definitely is.
There's a very awkward and morbid scene that just gets passed over and like halfway through it. You're like, wait,
Oh,
what?
I'll have to watch. As soon as I've seen it, I'll have to look out for it.
You know what I'm talking about. Talking chimneys.
Oh yes, I do remember that. Don't forget to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/WWTK. WWWTK. What's wrong with these kids? And also go to our Facebook, post your favorite points from Home Alone, things you may have missed, trivia bits, whatever. And Disney Plus, if you want to sponsor us, give us a call. You can watch Home Alone on
That's
Disney
how I
Plus.
watched it.
Oh, I think Zeke left his micro machines out at the bottom of the steps. I got to go check it out.